Hello, everybody. Welcome to Congress for Global Communication. I am Tara Wallace, team lead for the Good Health and Well-Being team, which represents sustainable goal number 3. So let's talk about what happens in February that everybody's talking about, just about, besides the Super Bowl. As we gather today, we are going to delve into heart health. Everybody's getting excited about Valentine's Day coming up next week. And we want to remind you that what we do here for good health and well being is multifaceted. We will address the mental, the physical, the spiritual, the economic, and the cultural dimensions of heart health. Our discussion is going to navigate through the realms of civility, culture, socioeconomic status, accessibility, and care for others, and recognize them as an integral part of the broader landscape of heart health. We will pose questions that challenge us to confront disparities and to embrace diversity, and we will cultivate empathy in our approach to good health and well being concerning the heart. From examining the impact of stress and socioeconomic disparities in heart health to exploring the intersectionality of race, gender, and accessibility, we welcome you to join us on this journey today that extends far beyond the confines of this panel discussion. We have a shared responsibility to promote collaboration, innovation, and compassion for others in this quest for a healthier and more equitable world. To that end, I would like to start out with a shout out to our fearless leader and special advisor, Dr. Sonia Robinson, who is working behind the scenes today. I'm going to start with the mission and the vision for what we represent at Good Health and Wellbeing. The mission overall for the Congress for Global Education, the global communications, is to build communication and connection and dialogue for the advancement of sustainable development goals by providing training, policy, recommendations, and empowerment for transformation, global transformation. And that's what we're looking for. And as I said before, we have a shared responsibility to this effort. So, what I would like to do right now is bring out some of the team members who are going to respond to the questions that we have today. If you have questions, feel free to drop them in the feed and we will share those with our panelists. So, Ms. Felicia Glass, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
So, would you like to introduce yourself to some of the people who have never seen us before and don't know what it is that you do as an amazing individual that focuses on holistic wellness?
So, my name is Felicia Glass. I'm a private practitioner in mental health here in Topeka, Kansas. I am better known in my community as the grief counselor. Grief is where my heart lies, and I believe in the need to help people in their grief process. So, grief is where my heart is, and the really the bigger pieces of everything that I do. And so all of the little things that really aren't so little are things that I've kind of learned to do as a way of helping people heal them in their healing process. Some of that is nature led or ecotherapy. I also do some yoga nidra. I am yoga trained, you name it. I've probably got it, done it, doing it. But today it's an honor to be here just to talk about our heart and our heart health and the ways that it connects to our mental health and impacts our entire life.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So, if we have any of the other team members, we've had some technical difficulties going, but we do have our other team member, Coach Nisi. Would you like to introduce yourself to everyone that hasn't seen you before?
Hey, everybody. My name is Coach Shanicia Ewing. I am the CEO and owner of Uncovering the New You. I am a master fitness trainer and an international life coach. I mainly focus on lifestyle coaching, right? Teaching you how to be healthy in your lifestyle, being able to find that balance on a day to day while being able to tackle healthy living, right? With that nutrition, basic balance of being able to eat right and still enjoy, no restrictions, no nothing. And as far as coaching, really focusing on the mindset, being able to adjust to that holistic lifestyle that, Felicia Glass also teaches us how to live as well, being able to connect the mind, body, and energy. I'm so happy to be here with y'all today.
Thank you. So we were going to have an additional team member if he shows up. We'll just bring him right on in here, but I'm just going to jump into the questions. And for those of you who haven't seen us before, what we do is these panelists go through questions and give you some amazing insight, give you things to think about, also challenge you. I love the challenges that we have because it usually leads to another show. So,
Right? It
This is
always
true.
does.
for the first question, what does heart healthy living mean to you?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
You
I'll
want to go
go.
next?
So
Okay.
I'll go. So we're gonna go back and forth. All right. So to me, heart healthy living, automatically I think about life experiences that I've already had with family members who have had heart issues. So as the big sister of a little brother who died in his sleep at 15 from heart disease, heart healthy living for me has looked like trying to get a handle on my lifestyle in terms of eating, exercise, and my social emotional health. Because losing my brother while I was in graduate school, I was 25 at the time. He had this massive heart attack in his sleep the night after having a full medical exam, I might add. And knowing that heart disease isn't always just what's blurring and glaring at you. It isn't always singing and screaming these loud alarms, but that heart disease can sit silently in your life. But the other part of it, being a mental health person, is that I also know that brokenheartedness, loneliness are also key heart issues that contribute to our lifestyle of what we eat, what we drink, how, or if we exercise. That heart hurt can also bring about some unhealthy habits. And so for me, again, we talk about this holistic living and really looking at how our behavior, our what we think impacts our behavior, right? And knowing that all of that comes together to paint this picture that is us. And so for me, it is a difficult journey many days. I know that I'm an emotional eater. I know that when I get angry or frustrated, I'm going to shop or I'm going to eat, one of the two things. And I also know that it requires me to change my mind in terms of how I think about those things and finding healthier habits to indulge in that will be more soothing and caring for my whole self, not just for that moment, but for a lifetime.
Oh, that's a good one. For me, oh, where'd I go?
Okay.
I was like, like I pop back in,
You'll
pop back
bounce
out, like,
back.
okay. So for me, the first word that comes to mind is movement, right? As a fitness coach, we want to look at that. We know that cardiovascular work is mainly for the heart, exercising the heart, being able to get that blood flowing through the body, enhancing our circulation, allowing our bodies to pump in and out. But it also means precaution. That's another word for me, because again, as you stated, that heart disease is probably one of the ones that is so meticulous. We don't always see it when we go to the exams. You don't always see it in a CAT scan. You don't always see it in the MRI. Sometimes you got to go a little bit deeper and getting that EKG, going in a little bit deeper and asking yourself, okay, I'm not breathing right. Is it my lungs or is it my heart? And being able to look at that. And also too, nutrition, looking at the foods we eat, because everything we do, it goes from the mouth, it bypasses the heart all down into the gut, and everything stirs itself there. And so if we have to look at everything that we do, we got to look at the effects on our heart and what weighs on our heart. But from a life coaching standpoint too, I have to agree with Miss Felicia here. The mindset, when you're stressed out, you're putting pressure on the heart. When you're not focusing, you're not grieving, you're not allowing your body to actually reset, you're not resting, you're putting pressure on the heart. Lack of sleep, maybe sleeping too much can also put pressures on the heart. Doing too much puts pressure on the heart. Not being open to just relaxing, bringing things down a little bit puts pressure on the heart. Trying to overextend yourself puts pressure on the heart. Literally everything we do as far as movement. The first word that came to mind, all focuses on the heart. And so absolutely, heart health is number one, and it should be focused on 365 days of the year.
Yeah. You know what? What came to me is that as both of you were talking, is that we have a tendency to focus on things after they're brought to our attention by our body. Our body will always force us to do the thing that we won't do ourselves. So,
Absolutely.
even at the very beginning of that, we have to have a heart to heart with ourselves
Mhm.
about our heart. I
And
mean,
that's
some
hard for
people,
people to do.
yeah, and some people notice things. I've read two different stories where women had heart attacks and did not recognize it because it was just a pain that they were accustomed to.
Hmm. And they
Because
get so used to it and they ignore it.
yes,
Oh, it's just a little pain. Let me take a little Advil. Let me take a little Tylenol. I'm good. But not realizing, or people just grieve and they don't allow themselves to grieve, and they're wondering why their body aches. And it's not anything wrong with them. Their heart is hurting. Their heart is broken. And that's a true statement. Like their heart is truly broken and
mhm,
you're not grieving. And that's why you have the aches and the pains, the migraines, the lack of eating, the lack of appetite, because you're not grieving. And so, people try and you go to the doctor. Oh, there's nothing wrong with you. Just lay down and rest. No, you need to grieve, baby. You need to cry. You need to scream it out. You need to journal it out. You need to find a way to get some healing. Talk to a therapist. Like those are things that people tend to ignore, especially in the physical realm. And then you're noticing that you do become an emotional eater or you become an under eater. And then more issues start to happen. And you're like now actually truly developing heart issues because you did not deal with the grief that you had. So I hate when people, just ignore the first sign because you can easily catch it and easily maintain it if you catch it.
Absolutely. I think the other important piece is remembering that we are so busy, especially women. And I know that this is about heart health for all people, but when we think about women, I think about the idea that because women tend to ignore their signs and symptoms because they're always busy taking care of others. And so they figure like, I got to finish this before I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
I literally was having a conversation with someone that I absolutely love who said that she felt like something was wrong. I felt like something was wrong when I got to
Mm-hmm.
this spot in traffic, but I kept going. I was like, oh, wait, I'll get home. And she got to another spot in traffic and she was like, oh, wait, I'm feeling kind of uncomfortable again. Let me get my husband on my phone. And I'm on the phone with my husband and, talking and he's like demands her to pull over, even though she was less than a block from her house. He demanded her to pull over. And before she even got pulled over, she had a medical emergency on the side of the road and her car wasn't even in park.
Mm-hmm.
And to know that we have moments of time where it requires us to simply listen to our body. You talked about having that heart to heart conversation. The
Mm-hmm.
reality is that heart to heart has to be honest. We have to be willing to be honest with
Mm-hmm.
ourselves about what we're
Absolutely.
experiencing, man, woman, child, boy, or girl. We have to be able to look at our lives and say, I'm doing this well. I'm not doing that well. I can sit in the mirror. I can look at my face and be like, I'm tired of XYZ. But until I'm honest about how I'm going to deal with XYZ or
Mm-hmm.
what I need to cut out in order to address XYZ, none of it matters. We have to get to a place
Absolutely.
where we stop lying to ourselves.
And you know what? From a fitness perspective, people want to lie. Oh, I'm okay. And we have gotten accustomed to being able to tell our friends that, oh, yeah, you look great, sis. No, sis, you are overweight. Sis, we need to get some of that weight off of you. And I think oftentimes we don't want to tell that because our friends will not listen to us, or they hate. We're, in this season of, oh, you're hating on me. We're in this season of being thick. We're in this season of, the who's got the biggest butt season. We're in the waistline and all this other stuff. Like it's this in my mind. It's like we continue to lie to each other also. So just because you're not honest with yourself, your people around you and your environment is constantly lying to you too. Girl, it's
Mm.
okay. We're going out every weekend. We're going to party. It's okay for you to go out. But knowing if you're overweight, you're still out here. The friends that you keep are still keeping you sick. And that's, that environment listen, because again, your friends out here eating bad, but they in a size 9, but you are in a size 16, 17, and you're not giving your body an opportunity because you want to do what they do, but your friends are keeping you sick. The fun and the parties are keeping you sick. And those are the lies too that we continue to accept in our community that affects I know this is about heart health, but that's where your heart is. Like your heart is on being happy and and having fun and out here with everybody else because you want to be accepted. But what about your physical health? You know what I
Oh,
mean?
sis, you
That affects your health.
preaching. I heard you pick up the microphone, sis.
Listen, because that's where it starts. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, with the season of love that we're in, right? February, we're learning to love yourself instead of loving everybody else, instead of loving the parties, loving the good things, because you are in a season of love yourself enough to say, you know what, I cannot go out to another party. Let me focus on my health. Let me do what I need to do. Let me get some exercise in. Let me focus on my heart health, mind, body, and energy, because your energy is going to come from your heart. Your mind,
Right.
and your heart got to connect, right? Your body, your mind, and physical got to connect too. So yeah, like that's a whole another podcast for us. I'm sorry.
A whole one.
So,
We can do a whole show right there.
one of the things that I have said since I started working with Coach, because I'm not a big sweet eater, but my husband knows where to go and what to get. And for the last month or two, he's brought it home and it's ended up in the trash. And I said to him, I can appreciate the fact that you love me as I am, but I don't want you to love me to death, because that's what that is. That is exactly what you do when you bring in all of the things that I know are not good for me. And I have a set day that I do all the things that I love, the key lime pie when it's available and all of those things. I said, don't love me to death.
There
I
you
can
go.
appreciate you wanting me to have what I want, but there is such a thing as excess, and there is such a thing as me not needing to have it and making better choices. So I want you to make the choice to love me alive. Don't love me to death by giving me all the things that I don't need and telling me that all of these things, because over the last month, my doctor had me on a different medication, and I'm talking to Coach about it. And I said, I've gained 10 pounds and I can't figure out why. And we broke that down. And that was why. It was the medication. I immediately told my doctor, I'm going to stop taking this. And so she had to ease me off it. And I said, okay, now I feel better. Number one, I'm not having hot flashes. That was a big one. But the other one is that me gaining 10 pounds, eating right and exercising every single day, there was a problem, because that goes into the mind. And I'm thinking to myself, I can't do this. I might as well give up. Well, I'm not, because I have a coach that is on me every day. So that wasn't the issue. But like I told my family, I can't have you guys love me to death.
Mhm.
I cannot do
I
that.
love it. I
Mm-hmm.
love it. So yeah, those boundaries that we put in place, we're good. And I think I talk about boundaries every time we get on, but those boundaries are
Absolutely. Yes,
important,
girl.
right?
Yes.
Those boundaries are important regarding our heart health,
Mhm.
whether it's the emotional piece of our heart, whether it is the healthy eating
Mm-hmm.
part of our heart, or the
Mhm.
physical part. It's all about boundaries. And so I
Yes.
know that this session, I was supposed to be here because I forgot, but I was supposed to be here because one of the things that I've been struggling with all week is getting back into my routine, right? So when you get sick, you get out of routine. When you're taking care of other people first, you get out of routine. And so I've gotten out of routine of my Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday morning workouts. And I'm like laying in bed and I'm like, I need to get up. I need to get up. I need to get up. And I'm hearing you. And it's like the reality is that those boundaries are in place so that if we have them, we don't allow other people to
Mm-hmm.
push us out of that comfort, out of that zone that has
Mm-hmm.
pushed us, right? So
Oh
I
yeah.
know that as long as I'm teaching, as long as I'm making it to the water, and I love to teach, and I recognize that not teaching anymore is one of the things that
Mm-hmm.
has prohibited me from moving forward in my physical activity, because I
Mm-hmm.
love to teach other people to
There
just
you go.
get, we can get it, let's go, right? It
Mhm.
motivates me. And so the reality is that we recognize that when we put these boundaries in place, those boundaries are in place to help move us towards where we're going, right?
Mhm.
And it
Absolutely.
protects us from other people pushing us away from where we came from.
Facts.
So, like, hey, yo, Thank you, sis. Use your boundaries. Let them know you will not love me to death.
There you go. Yes, I
I want
love
you to love
it.
me to life. Love
There
Yes.
you
me to
go. Love me
life.
while
Yes.
give me my flowers while I am still here. Do not put them on my grave.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Love it. Love
And I
it.
don't want any edible flowers either.
That part.
So we actually have some questions, y'all. We're gonna jump into our questions now
Oh, okay.
because I mean we just been chit chatting and this I knew this was gonna happen, so I wasn't even worried. I
Look, it's
wasn't
the three
worried.
of us. What do you expect?
I know. So how does stress and anxiety and depression impact heart health? And you've all both touched on this, so this is time to go deeper. What integrated approaches can be implemented to address mental and cardiovascular well-being?
So first I'll go because from the physical standpoint, right? With cardiovascular, it is research based that if you go out for a walk and get some vitamin D out in the sun, regardless if the sun is out or not, just being out in open air will refresh you, give you a clarity of your mind, right?
Mhm.
Exercise, it is research based. They will tell you exercise. If you go to any psychiatric ward, any hospital, they're going to always incorporate exercise into their program. They
Mhm.
always have them doing some type of physical activity
Mhm.
because that is what soothes their mind, is going to bring in the serotonin, get those endorphins pumping. It's going to allow the body to actually generate scientifically, right? That's there. So one thing here is getting out for a walk. You don't have to do anything strenuous. If you're not a person who likes to get out and exercise, guess what? Just go for a walk. Sit outside by the pond. Go find a lake at a park. Sit there and enjoy, right? Maybe ride your bike. Get outside, do something fun. Run out, get outside, play with your kids.
Mhm.
Those things help you push out of that. But you also have to figure out why you're there, what caused you to be there, and removing yourself out of those environments also, from a physical standpoint, because if you are around it, you're not going to do the activity that you need to enhance your cardiovascular health. So if
Right.
you're in a bad relationship and your spouse is always there, you're not going to want to go outside and have to come back home to that, right? You have to get out of you have to figure out why you're there, what's causing the depression, the anxiety, what's
Mhm.
heightening it, right? Or addressing the problem. Some of my clients have issues with eating too much. And so food is a problem with that. Address the food. What is it about the food? Let's look deeper into that. Like if your mother always fed you cream of rice, don't eat cream of rice anymore. Let's cancel that, baby. Right. So it's a matter of addressing the underlying problem too, which again it goes deeper, but just on the topical surface, getting some movement in, getting out, getting active, and again checking your environment about where you are and what is putting you in that position, what's causing the feeling, and even if it's temporary positioning, right, or if it's temporary uncomfortability, wherever you are, move out of the environment to
Mhm.
collect yourself, find the clarity so that you get a peace of mind, and then execute into the exercises, going for a walk, crying, breathing, maybe talking to someone, calling a therapist, enjoying yourself, finding something to do to take your mind off of it, to reset you so that you can approach the situation properly and address it, to now evaluate the environment, the situation, so that we can now eventually move into a solution.
Mhm.
Mhm. So one of the things that I like about that is I believe that it's important for people to understand that quality care will give you quality answers,
There you
right?
go.
So I believe that I'm not going to see a physician who's only going to want to put me on medication. That solves this temporary issue.
There we
I
go.
need long-term results. And so when I talk to people, even about from the mental health perspective of therapy, I talk to them about, before I can do anything as a therapist with you, I need to make sure that your physical body is not mistreating you.
There you go.
Right. So I require all of my clients to get an exam if they have not had one in the most recent 6 months and they're having increased symptoms, anxiety, depression, lack of sleep, tummy and dietary issues. I need you
Mhm.
to see a physician because all of those things impact your mental state. And
Mhm.
so I want to know that your whole body is well. So then we can tackle the mental health things.
There
And
you go.
people look at me like I'm strange. And I'm like, I know that you've seen other therapists and that may not be their approach, but this is
Mhm.
my approach. I am looking out for your whole self
There
because
you go.
your mental health is just a small portion of you, a bigger portion, but it's still just a portion. So when we talk about how anxiety and depression and mental health issues impact the heart, I think it's important that people recognize that whatever is happening in my mind is impacting my heart. And so when I have people who are dealing with racing thoughts, they're stressed out. And you're absolutely right, Coach. Stress is the largest impactor that we have on heart health. Every time we enter into these stressful moments, long bouts of anxiety, we are working our heart over time.
Say it.
Over time. So when we are in those moments for long periods of time, a month, a week, a year, whatever, full of stress, not resting well, not exercising, not eating well, not even taking a moment to sit and be quiet, we are stressing the heart. And so when our heart is stressed, it then sends these nasty chemicals to our brain. And those nasty chemicals tell our brain it's sad time. It's time to sleep. It's time to overeat. It's time to do nothing. It gives us this lack of ability to move forward towards our goals. And so I need people to understand that when you recognize that these symptoms are interfering in your ability to function, we need you to address that sooner than later. It's just kind of like, it's like the person who's actually having an active heart attack, but they're ignoring the symptoms of, oh, my arm is starting to hurt, but it's unusual, but it's nothing. I probably just did something to it. And they let that progress and progress. Well, ultimately, we end up with a serious condition. And so when we are dealing and looking at anxiety and depression and its long-term impact, we know that if we can shorten the symptoms, we can manage the impact.
There you go.
So I need to manage the impact. Our responsibility to ourselves are to be honest with ourselves, pay attention to our body. And when we see that something is wrong, don't wait. Talk to someone, get support, call the doctor, seek a therapist, ask questions. The other part of it for me is remembering that what worked for my sister Tara and my sister Nisi does not mean it's going to work for me.
There you go.
We need to quit comparing results, because my results are mine. That's my story to own. Right? So I cannot mirror, oh, I need the same therapist. I need the same routine. I need the same exercise. What works for one person does not work for everyone. I can tell you the number of times that I've had a doctor say, you need to fast. Fasting doesn't work for this body. It does not work for me. Fasting makes me gain weight every single time. I gain weight every time, right? So we have to know our body first. I remember going to the doctor. Tara knows I was in the hospital. They thought it was my diet. I had a gallstone. They were like, oh, it's your diet. It's your diet. But they never asked me what my diet was. My diet was as clean as it had ever been. My health numbers were as best as they had ever been. But people assume they know you. Quit letting people tell you more about you when you are the expert at you. You are your own best expert. Stop allowing people to tell you what's wrong with you. You need to tell them what's wrong with you. And if they're not listening, find a new person.
There you go. There you go. And I have to add on to that nutrition, because if you eat tons and tons of sugar, you're going to notice that you're more depressed and you're going to have higher anxiety. Right? If you're eating tons of fats, oils, and greasy foods, you're going to notice that you're highly depressed. Constant mood changes. You're going to notice that. Now, not to say like, listen, I like my little fried wings and some French fries every now and then, okay? Because that it is. I'm not saying that you cannot have it, but when it is in excess, when you are constantly eating it every single day, you're constantly eating, loads of food, large amounts of food, you're going to notice that you are moody. You're going to notice that you're not happy. You're going to notice that your gut is not happy. You're going to notice that everything that happens with your body and your mood starts in the gut. So it's going to start with what you put in your mouth. And so your nutrition, looking at that, the level of your sodium has a lot to do with your anxiety, not necessarily depression. Sugar focuses on depression and anxiety, but anxiety is based on the level of amount of sugar you have. Salt, and being able to break that down. And so between salt, excess fats, and sugars, your body is going through haywire because it does not have a balance. It cannot break all that stuff down naturally. And the last thing is under eating. Under eating, you're going to notice that you're super moody. You're going to notice that you're super emotional. You're going to notice that you're constantly up and down, wondering if anybody loves you or not, questioning yourself if you love you. Under eating, people say, I'm out here just eating, one meal a day. go right on ahead, and you're going to wonder why you're always emotional, because your body does not have enough to break down. Your body is not getting enough of the supplements that you need on a daily. And so the deal is just that oftentimes we try and take, again, these Google doctors, and then not really getting that assistance. We try to do it ourselves. For me as a coach, one thing is, a coach needs a coach. I have a coach for bodybuilding because I am new to the bodybuilding world. I have that, right? But as a trainer, I tell my clients, I use my not only my book knowledge, because I have 3 degrees to back that up, but I'm also going to use my experience. And I've got 22 and a half years of military service behind me as well to show my experience, and very cultural with the multiple cultures that I work with. So I use experience and book knowledge to pair what I prefer, work with my clients, because that's really what happens, because it's not going to be the same for everybody. It's not going to work. And so you got to watch what you're putting in your mouth. That's the bottom line. You got to watch what you're putting in your mouth, because you're wondering why your heart hurts, why your body aches, why you don't feel like you're healing, why you're not grieving properly, because of what you're putting in your mouth. You're never going to get over what you need to go through traumatically, right? Because your gut health and your mind are not on one accord. They're trying to do different things.
Yeah, can I do a shift with that?
Sure, go for
it. Because we talk about what goes in our mouth, but it's also just as crucial to talk about what comes out.
You better come on, sis. Come on.
Right.
So hold on. Hold on. Let me ask this question, because I know you're getting ready to get into everything I'm getting ready to ask. How do cultural beliefs, traditions, and practices influence how we perceive health, illness, and treatment options related to heart disease?
Can I say this? Look, can I say this? Tara's over there like, let me just get this question in. I just need y'all to just hold on. Like, y'all are just sitting there going.
Because y'all all over my questions. I'm like, I need to ask this question so that people understand, because they need to package this. And y'all getting ready to package it. So go for it.
So as I talk about what comes out of our mouth, we have heard over and over and over again about how comfort foods are good for the soul. And we say it. We believe it. And it's killing us. Mm-hmm. Our words kill us. Maintaining ongoing cultural traditions of literally, let me tell y'all something. Our ancestors ate what they ate because it was all they had access to. We have choices. And I know y'all might be out there looking at me like, look at the fat girl talking. Let me tell you something. I am the evidence of bigness and health wrapped in one. So what I'm saying to you is, we have to be able to make good choices about the food that we put in our mouth and the drinks that we drink, because we have choices. So I can no longer say one thing and do another. In addition to that, we talk a lot about, oh, I feel sad, or I am depressed. Sometimes we're speaking these states of mind and health into our lives. Mm-hmm. There is power behind our words, just as much so as there is power behind our actions. It is important to remember that as a culture. I can only speak for my own culture. Mm-hmm. And the life I live. And culture, I need to clarify, is not just about my race. Mm-hmm. Culture is about community and environment. Okay. So in my community and or in my environment, I know that I have lived in some settings where we may not have had food access, meaning we just got whatever we could get quick. Right. My parent worked nights. So if I couldn't cook it, we couldn't eat it. Right. And my mom may not have had a chance to get a meal made. But let me tell y'all something. We are in position to make significant changes about our life and that the traditions that we choose to move forward. The other thing is, we are also in position to create new traditions. Mm-hmm. Right? And to create new routines, new rituals for our households and our family. I know that we may not choose the healthiest of everything, but we have to learn that if we seek it, we can speak it. right? So I need you all to know that if I can seek out all this information, I can seek out all these resources. I also can speak about how I'm going to take these traditions and change them, alter them. Quit cooking. I don't have to cook with lard anymore.
Whew. Yeah.
Right? I don't have to have 10 pounds of sugar in my sweet potatoes. There are alternatives. I can bake a sweet potato and have it, right? There are just so many different ways that we can change the way we live simply by speaking and living different choices out loud. Now, I don't know if I answered your question about the spirituality and our culture, et cetera, in
That's
this
all
particular.
together, sis.
It
Okay,
is.
all right, I
It
got
Oh,
it. We
is.
sis, you
good.
did good. Because I'm gonna caveat with exactly what you said, that is, I don't believe in generational diseases. I believe in generational plates, right? Because that we're eating the same way that our family is, and that's the reason why everybody has high blood pressure, high cholesterol. There's diabetes trending in our family because of the plates that we continue to put on our tables, right? And so when we come down to culture, I understand we want to hold on to our culture, but there's also, as we change, just like our family introduced us to the cell phone, right? Early in the 90s, I remember the flip phones. We didn't have, the iPhones and all the other stuff, right? We had to flip. I came in with the flip girl, right? Before, I couldn't talk after 7 because my minutes weren't free. We don't have to do that anymore. We have unlimited, right? That flip phone where we have now the video. We can just push a button and we get to FaceTime. Our families continue to upgrade us. And so as we are building our generations, we have to remember that we too have to upgrade how we're eating, how we're living, because we do not have to live in a house that doesn't have a bathroom and that we need to go outside. We actually can stay inside to do those things. And ultimately, when we try to hold on to our traditions, we also have to upgrade them so that they become better. We can do better. We can give better. We can provide better so that our generation can continue. Because like she prefaced in the beginning, just because our ancestors and our older, not even ancestors, my great grandmother, hey, she's still living. Just because she lived one way doesn't mean I have to live that way now. I don't have to warm up my iron to use it. I can plug it in. Okay. I don't have to use a gas grill. No, 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 no. I can turn it on, or I can use one on the inside. You feel me? I can use I ain't
Yeah.
gotta tweak it out. So
Right.
what I'm saying here is this: when it comes down to us to from the physical standpoint, a lot of cultures are against women looking certain ways, men doing certain things, children participating in activities. You have to ask yourself, how is my culture living and what is it doing? I'm not saying you have to put aside your cultural beliefs or your spirits, but just make sure that if you're going to adhere to them, make sure that they're upgrading your family and not taking them down. Because again, the way you look, you don't have to build a ton of muscle like I've got. I didn't ask you to. But however, do you have some muscle to take care of yourself when times come? Because it's not like the old days where women have to, they are just strictly at home, cleaning, cooking, hanging the laundry outside. No, women have to do a lot more now in every culture. We have to be able to adhere to what our cultures are doing and the development of them. And again, I'm not putting aside religions that do afford that opportunity. I'm not putting aside cultural differences either. But we
Right.
also got to look at the sustainability of our culture. Are we damaging it? Are we not building it? Like I told my son the other day that I wanted to grow a farm, that I wanted to be able to grow my own vegetables, because our culture is so used to doing that instead of going
Yeah.
and buying them, from there, right?
Mhm.
Being able to just grow my basic vegetables right here at the house, things of that nature, getting into that agriculture, because that's what we grew up on. We got away from that, when we saw a Starbucks on the corner. We got away from that when we saw, Publix and Kroger. We got away from that. And so if you're going to maintain it in such a way that it's continuing to upgrade your family, continuing to make better choices for them. And again, on the physical aspect, we grew up on physical fitness. The first thing our parents used to do, get
It's
outside. Don't you come into the sun till the light comes on. My mother, get outside. It's Saturday morning. She kicking me out
Go
at 9.
play.
Get out, go play. 9
Mhm.
o'clock, ain't nobody outside. Play by yourself. You
Mhm.
coming here for lunchtime at 12 and you're going right back outside.
Yeah.
And so, that was what we grew up on. Get back out to that. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And again, I can only speak for my culture, but most cultures allow kids to go outside and play. Right now, they're so addicted to the cell phones. They're so addicted to the computers. Like a child cannot go out without doing one of these. And you see them all day long, right? What about their activity? And again, if you really want to inherit cultural changes and cultural differences. And I'm going to preface this again, make sure that it is based around upgrading your family, upgrading and enhancing what's already there, not putting you back to the old days. We don't have to struggle like that no more. We are not in that struggle anymore. You don't have to use lard, you don't have to use grease, and you don't have to use an outhouse. Let's upgrade, baby.
So there's this thing that I do. My dad said I was born asking questions. I've always been the why child. And I tell my son and my husband this because they've learned some things and they've picked up these habits. But there's a story that I always tell about a young bride. She got married and she's fixing dinner for her husband. And she's got a ham. She takes the ham and she cuts the end off the ham, throws it in the trash, and puts the ham in the oven. And he said, "Why did you waste a perfectly good piece of ham?" And she said, "Well, that's the way my mom prepared the ham." And so he gets on the phone and calls mom, mother-in-law. "Why did you chop the ham and throw it away? Your daughter just wasted a good slice of ham. She threw it away, just threw it in the trash." She said, "Well, I prepared it that way because that's how my mother prepared it." He gets on the phone and calls the grandmother and says, "I've talked to your daughter and I've talked to your granddaughter and asked them why they keep cutting this ham and throwing this piece in the trash. And they say, because that's how you prepared it." She said, "I don't know why they prepare it that way. I prepared it that way because we didn't have a pot big enough to fit it or a refrigerator to store the piece that was cut off." So for this whole of these generations, they've been doing what they saw her do without asking questions.
I like that.
Just like I said,
that's a good one. I like that.
Find out why your family does what they do. Is it promoting health and wellness in your family? If not, let's change it. In my family, they don't know. They're probably going to know now because I'm getting ready to say it and they're watching this. But I've changed every single recipe that I ever make. They still love it. They just don't know that I've made all these adaptations to healthier things so that when I cook the stuff that just is so good to them, it's healthier. They don't feel as bad. They don't get the itis when they're done eating. They're ready to do something else because, man, there's not a lot of salt in there. There's not a lot of sugar in there. There's not a lot of fat in there, but it's still good. What is going on with this? You're welcome. Coach gives me recipes on my meal plan and I fixed them one day and they had attitude because I wasn't sharing. I was meal prepping. They were literally walking through the kitchen looking at me like, "What? That's not dinner?" "No, I got my containers over there. You see, I'm meal prepping."
Look, she called, she sent me a message. She never really sends me a message unless she needs something. She says, "I am so pissed." I said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Did I do something?" I said, "Your meal plan is updated. Your program's updated." I said, "I made the necessary changes." So what happened? She said, my family just ate all my food and I don't have anything left in the refrigerator." I was like, "What happened?" I said, "What do you mean?" "They ate all of my meal prep and I am pissed because I've got meetings and I have to travel and I don't have any food, Coach." Like,
yes.
That a good problem to have?
Yes. That's a good problem to have.
But the fact is that the recipes incorporate so much seasoning, all these things that they've bought as a one-off. "Oh, I need this for this and I'm not going to ever use it again." I pulled all of those out and started using them. "Why does it smell so good in here?" That's called seasoning, sweetie. That's called herbs and spices and all of these things that you just throw away after they expire. I'm using them. And that's the cultural shift that we've done in our house. So they're like, "I don't know if I like this because I'm eating healthy." That's the mindset that they have right now, is that, I'm used to eating and going to take a nap because I need a nap. Well, I can't help you there because that's not how we do it anymore. So yeah, you're absolutely right. Both of you are absolutely right. I'm trying to figure out a question to ask y'all. I just don't think I have one that is gonna. Okay, I got one.
Okay, let's see what we got.
So how do spirituality and faith influence individuals' perceptions about illness, health, healing, and how can you integrate that? And both of you have done this. I've seen you do it. How do you integrate that into any practice that you give someone to engage in.
So, faith without works is dead. Like, I understand that God is going to heal you. I understand you believe that God is going to give you the resources. God is going to give you everything, but he also needs you to do the work, right? And so he's like, listen, I'm going to provide these things you're praying for, and the, I'm going to give you the ability to do that by waking you up every day. He gives us the opportunity to be forward and steadfast. But if
Mm-hmm.
we don't do the work, it's going to continue to fester, right? He can't
Mm-hmm.
remove the disease if we're not doing something to combat the disease, which is exercise or heart health, right? If we're not making the heart stronger, he can't give us a new heart. He can't take us back into our mother's womb and bring us back out. You know what I mean? The deal is that we're here now. And he gave us good health, or some of us were born with some health challenges. I got it, right? But
Mm-hmm.
however, we were born with the health that we have. He gave us the responsibility to our parents as we got older, for them to teach us how, or to teach us what they know. And he gave us the opportunity to have the resources that are out there for us to be able to access, to get out here to learn, on our own what we needed. He provided the doctors, he provided the nurses, he provided the education, and the sources out here. He provided the therapists, he provided the food, he provided everything we need. However, you can pray all day and you can ask God for change. You can say, God, I want to change. You can uplift yourself and say, I am going to, and make all these resolutions. But if you never do it and you never be honest with yourself about where you are, you will never change. You will never see the blessings of it. You will never be able to access the fruits of the labor that you can have. You'll never be able to truly see the value of what God has already provided, and everything that you've prayed for. He heard you, but he gave you the resources and the tools. And so now you have to be the worker and do the work, so that now your blessings can come into pass. And so therefore, you got to do the work. Faith without works is dead. That's simple. And that comes in all areas of your life: mind, body, and spirit. That's why a therapist is here. That's why you have your personal trainers. That's why you have your food. That's why you have it. Regardless if it's expensive food or cheap food, you still got an ability to make better choices, to
Yes.
do better, and to give yourself better.
Yes.
Yeah, that, all of that right there.
She was looking at me like, uh-huh.
Yeah, there's that. There's all of that. I think the only thing I would say, which I believe you said anyway, is that I live by the motto: we get to choose.
Yeah.
Mm.
We get to choose. God gave us a wealth of things at our fingertips or at our footsteps.
Mm-hmm.
We get to choose. So
Mm-hmm.
we're either choosing life or we're choosing death. I'm going to say
Yeah.
it again. We're either choosing life or we're choosing death. Either way, you choose.
She come in with this soft voice, and I came in here with this aggressive tone, and she just comes in, she just brings it all down. Like, okay, let me bring that down.
You delivered. Yeah.
Like, she's just so calm.
And some people need that. Some people need that. So okay, let me throw this one at you. How can people incorporate resilience um, in their heart health management? What
You know, we
strategies?
when we talk about resilience, I imagine the slinky.
Mm.
You guys remember the slinky?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I remember the slinky, little ebb and flow. It bounces back to you. It comes back. Here's the reality. Um, we have to remember where we've been.
Mm-hmm.
We have to use our past experiences in order to navigate the future. And if we do a good job of learning from our past experiences, those past experiences will allow us to make some better decisions moving into our future. And so when I think about resiliency and anxiety, depression, heart health, all of it requires us to take notes.
Mm-hmm.
I often talk about, we get into these conversations. We were talking about spirituality last time. And so we get into this ongoing dialogue with God. And sometimes it's a monologue when it's supposed to be a conversation. And I need you to know that there's a conversation that's necessary in order to build resiliency in affecting or attacking all of these areas of life. We have to be able to stop and take note of what we've done well and what worked well, what we're no longer using, and what we need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Plain and simple. This is what I'm doing. This is what works. This is what's not working. This is what I need to continue. This is what I need to add. Resiliency, our ability to move forward, to bounce back from
Mm-hmm.
situations, requires action.
Mm.
So once I've reflected, now I've got to act.
Mm-hmm.
I need to act. Action, whether it requires physical health, mental health, our social well being, there's something to be done. Now we get to choose to do it.
That part.
So I am a master resiliency trainer in the Army. I've been a master resiliency trainer for the last 11 years. And one of the things about this, it comes with different tools and aspects to build resilience. Us military people, we have to find resiliency, especially in the early times when I first joined. Lots of deployments. I've got 4 deployments to Iraq, back home, and we're having to find resilience, being able to kind of figure out how do we connect back with community, get back into our normal, because being there and being here are 2 different things.
Mhm.
One of the tools is hunt the good stuff. And a lot of times, my clients, when it comes down to fitness and nutrition, they tend to always want to pick themselves apart. Oh, well, I didn't lose a pound this week. Oh, I missed a couple sessions. Oh, I was so busy. Okay, and let's pick up what did happen. Did you get at least 1 or 2 in? Yes, but no, but you did something, right? Even though you did more last week, that's fine. This week was a little bit more challenging. Okay, but guess what? We got tomorrow, right? We got tomorrow. Let's do better
Let's
tomorrow,
go.
right? Let's go. Let's make it happen. Like, why are we complaining, right? Because we cannot change what happened yesterday. We can't change what happened today, right?
Mhm.
So let's talk about tomorrow. Okay. Did you meal prep? No. Okay. Cool. All right. What are you cooking for dinner tonight? So you got to hunt the good stuff. And then also too, a client will say, "Oh, I didn't lose weight this month, but what did happen? Well, my clothes are falling off of me. Oh, oh, Tara, does this sound familiar? Okay, my clothes are falling off of me, right? Um, and the deal is that you've lost tons of inches. You are not defined by your number, but you are defined by what size you wear, right? Not the
Mhm.
size, I'll say, because that's still a number, but the way you feel in your clothes. I'm going to say that because you're not defined by a number. How
Mhm.
good you feel in your clothes, how comfortable you feel in your clothes, how confident you feel in your clothes. And if they're getting bigger every month, then we know something is happening. We know something is working. So you have to hunt the good stuff. It's okay. You are not defined by a number. I believe that age is a number, but it's not a definition. That scale, it's a number, but it's not a definition. Your
Right.
inches, right? Is a number for an inch of the size you wear, but it's not a definition. The only thing we need to worry about is how much fat is around your heart, how much body fat. That is the only number we should be concerned about. As long as our body fat is continuously going down, that is going to tell about our heart health, that good health, that well-being that we talk about, right? So here, when we talk about hunting the good stuff, you have to stop self-sabotaging yourself and
Mm.
picking yourself apart every time something goes wrong. Listen, health is a lifestyle. Okay, we're not going to lose 30 pounds in 30 days. We're not going to get down to lose 100 pounds in 2 weeks, baby. This is a lifestyle because somebody's going to get hurt. Your babies are going to be sick. You're going to run late. There's going to be a car accident. You're going to have to work late. You got inventory, right? You're going to go out. You're going to want to go out on a date. You might meet somebody. You might have a wedding. Something is going to happen. Life is going to happen. Life is going to life, as my son say. And in order for you to truly understand that, you really
Yep.
have to realize you have to stop self-sabotaging yourself and say, you know what? I am present. And today I might not do well, but tomorrow I'm going to do better. And
Mhm.
every day make the attempt to do better than you did the day before. Right?
Mhm.
That's why because you have to fit it into your lifestyle. No matter how busy you are, or no matter how unproductive I'll say you are, right?
Yeah.
Because and if you're just choosing not to do, then you're lazy. Okay. But what I'm saying to you is this: hunt the good stuff of your journey. When you get on that journey, it's not an overnight process. That weight didn't come overnight. It's not going to come off overnight.
Mhm.
Your changes are not going to come overnight. Your meal plan is not going to change overnight because you're still going to crave those sugars. You're still going to crave that fried food. It takes time. Hunt the good stuff that you
Mhm.
still have time, and you get the opportunity. You're not being forced right now to do or to change. It's a choice. Hunt the good stuff. And that is where your resiliency will build, because you'll become more confident that every day something is changing. You'll become more confident that, you know what, this process is going to be, it may be years long, but I feel better every day that I wake up. I got more energy every day. I can do more every day. And you start to build a better mindset about the journey, and you're going to want to continue instead of quit.
Mhm.
Because unrealistic expectations of a journey will give you unrealistic results, which are going to piss you off. Okay. And
100%.
so hunt the good stuff, baby.
She wrapped that word up so tightly. She wrapped that word up so tightly. So we're going into Valentine's Day. Super Bowl is tomorrow. Final word for everybody. A final word for everybody dealing with Super Bowl and Valentine's Day. What do y'all got?
Have fun. Go enjoy yourself. It's one day. Valentine's only come one day, right? Enjoy yourself. Don't overdo it. Take that one meal, replace it. Get your workout early in before your spouse takes you out. Before the Super Bowl, in the morning, get up, do all your laundry, move around, get some movement. Enjoy yourself. If you want chips, cookies, enjoy. Don't overdo it. Don't have 20 wings. Have your 5 or 10, right? But make sure that Monday morning you get up and you get that exercise. Same thing for Valentine's Day. Go and love on your baby. Eat those chocolates. Enjoy yourself, but you do not have to overdo it. Don't eat the whole package. Save it out, spread it out, right? One or two, but balance yourself. It's about balance, but enjoy yourself. I don't do restrictions, right? We don't start taking away things. Enjoy yourself. It is okay to have one or two of those things and not deprive yourself. So enjoy yourself. Happy Super Bowl and happy Valentine's Day from Coach Nisi.
That
You,
I'm sick
I
of you.
know you have something. I know you have something. There are a lot of people that are going to be in their fields on Valentine's Day. I've already seen it on Facebook. There are people that are in their fields, so give them
Yeah.
something.
so let me say this. We've said a lot today. And the thing that I want to say about celebrations is that celebrations are necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Celebrations are fun. They're a great release. You should be around people. You should enjoy it. But when you do, I want to encourage you to first love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So Coach Nisi said, go, and I have the tattoo, right? First, love yourself. Because if you choose to indulge in whatever it is that you indulge in on Sunday or on Wednesday, choose to get up, get your walk in, do your meditation, journal, do your therapy session, have your little private moment with self. Give yourself some of the love first.
Mhm.
It's going to be my words of encouragement.
Mm-hmm.
You have all day long left to give it to everybody else, and they're going to take it. Sometimes even if you don't want to give it to them.
Absolutely.
But the time that you carve out, I tell people all the time, write yourself on your own calendar and don't let anything change it.
There you go.
So as we get ready, today's just Saturday. You got tonight to plan for tomorrow and to plan for Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
What time are you going to assign to yourself? Give it to yourself early. Because at the end of the day, when you're done taking care of everybody else's needs, desires, and wants, there's nothing left for you. Give to yourself first. So
Mm-hmm.
my holiday enjoyment is the idea of I love to spend time with people.
Mm-hmm.
But I tend to get up early. I got my little desk right here. I have a book I'm reading out of. That's my morning meditation. I have a window I can look out of to see sunrise, sunset. Because those are the things that start my day off well.
Mm-hmm.
So I challenge you, love yourself first.
Mm-hmm.
That was perfect. This has been amazing. Very little went like we planned it last month. And it doesn't matter because we got everything that we needed for everybody that's going to watch this or that's watching with us now. This was perfect. So, from the Good Health and Wellbeing team, thank you for joining us. Have a good evening, have a good morning, good afternoon. We will see you next month. Thank you.
Bye.